This is the Timbo Slice podcast featuring Jordan. Welcome to episode 13, the cursed episode.
So today we have Jordan's brother Wyatt visiting us as the guest. Somebody from Jordan's side of the aisle this time. So your name is Wyatt Wilcken. That sounds like a superhero name to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
They always use alliteration. Scott Summers, Peter Parker, Wade Wilson.
Diana something, Wonder Woman.
I don't
I
know.
don't know what her last name.
Matt Murdock, Jessica Jones. It's always alliteration, Jordan. So Wyatt Wilcken.
Yeah, it's definitely a secret identity.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I was actually named after Goldie Hawn's son. Because Mom thought it was so cool that Goldie Hawn named her son Wyatt. And I'm like, well, that's just great.
I didn't know that.
Couldn't have been that she liked Wyatt Earp or anything like that. Nope. Goldie Hawn's son who likes to play hockey. That's who I was named after.
So do you follow Goldie Hawn's son on the internet?
No.
You know what he's up to?
I just saw it was a TV program about Kate Hudson, and it talked about him for a second. And that he was a hockey player. But no, I don't follow him at all.
Oh, so he plays professional hockey now.
This was like 15 years ago that I saw this,
Oh,
so
I
no
see.
way is he in any
So as a-
professional hockey
As a
league.
teenager, he
No,
played
yeah.
hockey.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a living? I saw when you checked in that you put something like a fuel company. Is that what it said?
So we build fuel systems for military aircraft, like helicopters mostly,
Nice.
so they can sustain gunfire and crashes and not leak fuel or explode, which is one of the main reasons that people die in a helicopter during a crash, especially at war. Yeah, the company was founded in the 70s, and that's what they found most of the fatalities came from. So I think his name was
Interesting.
Harry Robertson, came up with the product and started selling it to the government.
So do you have to have clearance to work there then?
No, I think I have to be an American citizen, and we do have, I can't remember what level of secret we are. I'm not allowed to reveal any of our methods on how we build,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Sounds like a cool job.
I think it's classified, I think is where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you specifically do? Are you an engineer?
No,
programmer?
I am a technician, a composite technician, so I work with like fiberglass, carbon fiber, those type of materials. I build the outside shell of it, and then they have a bladder system that goes inside of it. That's not unlike like a bike tire that gets hit with a sticker and it fills with green goop. That's basically the concept that the bladder goes by. The shell is to protect the bladder in the event of a crash, and then the bladder is to contain the fuel in the event of getting shot or a crash. It reseals itself if it gets punctured, is what its design is to do.
Man, that sounds awesome. And where are they located?
Just down the road, actually. They're 146. I don't know their exact address, but I just go on the exit just north of here, right by the
Wow.
prison. Yep, and this was 5 minutes longer than my commute to work.
Not bad. How long have you been working there?
7.5 years now. I've been throwing my future away.
What do you mean by that?
Well, yeah, I mean, on my taxes, I put that I'm a laborer, right? So I feel like, and the people that I work by, not to be like pretentious or anything or say that I'm smarter than them, but I feel like I could do greater things than just working with my hands and producing something with my hands. It's not a job that takes any technicality with thinking, which I really like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like solving problems and doing things like that. And there's really no problem solving. You kind of do the same thing every day. I settled, as me and Jordan said last weekend.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good job. Don't get me wrong. The benefits are terrible. The pay is decent. The hours are amazing. And vacation time is really good. But I when I first started there, I actually made the plan that I was only going to work there a year and go back to school. And it's been 7 years now. So
No chance of like moving up within that company or
not where I'm at.
really?
So we have two locations, one here in Bluffdale, and then there's another one in Tempe. There's a lot more room for growth where I'm at. I felt like a rock in the mud when I started there. Whenever anybody got up to the top of the roof at that place, they kicked the ladder down after they got there. I get to look up at them, which is fun. But yeah, no, there's not really much room to grow. There's false like rooms that I can grow, but like basically like I'm a tech level 2 right now. In another year I'll hit 3. When I hit 10 years I'll hit 4, and I'll get bigger raises when I hit the 3 and the 4. But it's not any growth, I wouldn't say. It's just a bigger raise.
To do the same job?
Yeah, my job responsibilities stay the same.
Interesting. So there's no way to like have your work maybe pay for education or
They claim that
Train
they pay
you
for
or-
education, but I've never heard of someone doing it
Really?
before. Yes. It's one of those things where they can put it on like a tax return, I'm sure.
Sounds like a cool job, but and like a cool company to work for if you could, find the area that you want to work in there, find success.
I'm sure, I mean, if I actually did go for an engineering degree, I'm sure they would pay for it, but I would have to go for a composite engineer degree or a mechanical engineering degree. But I don't even know if I would be interested in that or not in the first place. I don't know if my math would ever be good enough. I've never applied myself when it comes to math, so I really don't know how good or bad I would be at it. And I'm scared to fail. This is why I settled.
Oh, I see. Have you ever at any point in your life enjoyed doing maths?
Yeah, when it was a little bit more simple, like pre-algebra. I got into Algebra 1, and my problem with Algebra 1 is I got lazy with Algebra 1, so I just stopped trying in it right away. Yeah, I don't know.
So you don't feel like you have a whole lot of career ambitions or company ambitions?
No, not at all. That's never been my strength.
Do you have other ambitions?
No, I used to for music, but like really my only ambition is like I just have this false sense of success through video games is kind of my ambition. Hence I'm spending time hatching these eggs in Pokemon, like 600 of them now. But no, I've never, it's kind of a weakness, I would say. I've never been ambitious when it comes to work. I've never had this drive for money. It's never been something that I've wanted to just go for. I've always been in the mindset where I have enough for my needs, and that's good enough for me.
So no ambitions to live in the mountains and be some live off the land person either?
No, that does not sound fun at all. Nope. I've seen some of those programs on National Geographic. Those people do not look like they're having fun. I mean, for them it probably works, but for me it wouldn't, Like there was one guy, and I don't know if it's true, but someone was telling me at work, there's a guy on the show who was like a multimillionaire and a CEO of a major company, and he gave up on all of it and went and lived out in the woods, built his own house on top of a swamp, and then he sells like animal pelts to get by and trades them to get by.
And does he enjoy his new life?
Yeah, he loves it. Loves it.
All right.
Yeah, you can see it on his face. I mean, if that works for you, that works for you.
The mosquitoes don't bother him in the swamp?
I don't think I've seen the show in the summer, so they probably do.
And so you said you kind of have ambitions that you live out through video games. Outside of the Pokemon stuff you mentioned, is there anything you do like competitively or do you just
considered a career in esports?
No, although you could make a lot of money doing it, but no, I've never considered it.
That's too ambitious?
Yeah, probably. Competitively, I'm trying to think. No, probably not, honestly.
Do you have a game that you're like good at? Like, this is my game, I'm really good at it.
Like
some people will do that with like Rocket League or Smash Brothers or
Street
Fighter or
See, I'm different.
League of Legends.
I use video games as an escape, and to me, competing for something is not an escape.
It's like work, right?
Yes, it is. These people are doing it for work, like Ninja, for example. There's no way that I would think that he's happy playing Fortnite as much as he does.
But he's happy clicking at $500,000 a week or whatever he's making, right?
It's a lot, I'm sure. His sheer amount of money is probably making him semi-comfortable, but to me, what he's doing is the same as working in a grocery store. I mean, you're putting something on a shelf. I mean, it's got to get monotonous for him. He switches to play other games every once in a while, but I could not do that.
Yeah, especially with Fortnite. I don't like that game at all.
Yeah. Our brother Drew described it as Lord of the Rings, the game. All you're doing is running from one end of the map to the other. He said he didn't encounter a single thing, and he just shut it right off. It was just like... But I don't agree with Fortnite. I mean, it's free, but that's the most expensive game on the market, in my opinion.
They do make a ton of money.
Yeah, they do. And their target market is children.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to compare them to the tobacco company, but they're very, very good at marketing to children. They're fantastic at it. These new skins come out. They're only there for a limited amount of time, so kids go to ask their parents for money to get this skin. That's only there
all the dances and everything.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff in it like that. It's microtransactions.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the top grossing free to play, but it's up there.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the number one. I'd have to look it up, though.
Yeah. I think for a while it was League of Legends, right? I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time since I looked. In fact, one thing that's kind of funny is World of Warcraft was up there for a while because they added microtransactions back, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. And so even though it's not free to play, people still spend a bunch of extra money on it. So they put a non-free to play game up on the like the top charts of microtransaction revenue or whatever.
It is the way to go, but as far as like gathering video gamers, I don't think it is. At least long-lasting video gamers.
Yeah, I always try to avoid games like that because I can go and find an awesome game, especially like on a Steam sale or something for like $10 and put like 300 hours into it, have a great time, and then there are these games out there that try to nickel and dime you, and you can end up spending like $100 for an inferior game or more.
You're better off paying $5 or $10 for some indie title that has soul. Right.
Yeah.
That one that comes to mind. Have you ever played Enter the Gungeon?
I have.
Yeah,
I have it on
me
Switch.
and my wife have probably put 600 hours into that game. We bought it for $20. We put 600 hours in, and they put like 2 or 3 updates on it for free. We didn't even have to pay for them.
Yeah, the game's hard. It destroys me, Jordan.
Is it?
I've only beat like 2 or 3 levels.
I have to play with Wyatt and his wife.
I probably only put in like 4 or 5 hours on it, but I've gotten nowhere so far. But yeah, I try to play. I tried with my kids or with my nephews, and they kind of drag me down too. But I'm not that great at those like what they call them, like bullet hell games or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not my thing. I'm getting slow in my old age.
So Gungeon is a bullet hell?
Yeah.
like the 6th floor is even called bullet hell.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is.
Tim haven't made it that far.
No, I haven't.
It's hard to unlock the 6th floor. There's a lot you have to go through to get to that point.
Hmm.
Me and my wife have platinumed it even on PlayStation. So
Dang.
yeah, it took a long time to do. It was like a year and a half of solid gameplay to actually do it. There's a lot of games that I feel like respect their buyers.
Yes.
Like Capcom respects their buyers. I don't know if you played Monster Hunter World or not.
Oh yeah.
But I can't even count how many title updates they put on that game for free. You didn't have to pay anything more than it outside of the 60. And they have released an expansion very recently that doubled the amount of content in the game.
I'm still waiting for that to come to PC. That's where I play.
Yeah.
I've been playing on PC with my brother. Yeah, we probably put around 300 hours into the base game. We got it for like $30 on sale.
Yeah.
It's like 10 hours $1, Jordan.
Pretty
Or
good.
10 cents an hour is probably a better way to think of it. But yeah, pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
It's a great game. When are you going to play with us?
Never. As I told you earlier, I play ukulele.
Yes.
It gives me moral superiority.
To avoid confusion, he's talking about the instrument, not the game that is called ukulele.
Wait, is there a ukulele game?
Ukulele is what it's called. Yeah. Ukulele. It's
Yeah, I
a
don't play that
platformer. It's like a knockoff of Banjo-Kazooie, I believe.
Oh, I see.
Ukulele.
I spent a ton of time on that game, the first one.
Banjo?
Yeah. So I was staying with a friend in Cortez, Colorado for a week during the summer. And he was at that age where you have your first job and your first car. So he just left me at his cousin's house for like 2 days.
What?
I was playing Banjo-Kazooie at my friend's cousin's house for 2 days with his younger cousin, right? It was like 3 or 4 years younger than me, which is kind of a big deal when you're 16, you know. You don't want to hang out with 12-year-olds.
Not really.
Anyway, but he was a cool enough kid, and we played Banjo-Kazooie for 2 days.
Were you just like missing or what?
No, he knew where I was.
Like your parents?
No, so I was staying. So we lived in New Mexico at the time,
Okay.
right? So this is like a summer extended sleepover, or whatever, at his house. So I was supposed to be staying with him, and then we went over to see his cousin one day, and they had Banjo-Kazooie, and I was playing it, and then he left to do something. I don't think I was planning to be there overnight,
Yeah.
but I ended up being there for 2 days
That's
playing
crazy.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Wow.
Kind of like that Tom Hanks movie. I forget what the one. Terminal? Is that the one?
I haven't seen
He's
that
from
one.
Krakosia, and he's stuck in the airport.
Oh, yeah.
Because his country got dissolved while he was like in the middle of a flight or something.
I remember the previews for it, but I never saw it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Yeah, anyway, somewhat like that, only not as cool, because I just played Banjo-Kazooie. I was really burned out in the end. Did not want to play it anymore. But did I stop? No, I did not. I really don't want to play this anymore, but I'm going to.
There wasn't a single other N64 game in the house?
I'm sure they had other ones. I guess it was just like an instance of obsessive compulsive disorder or something. Instead of washing my hands or checking the locks repeatedly, I kept playing Banjo-Kazooie.
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Nice.
We finished the game. It was really fun for like the first day. But you know, when you're playing for 16 hours a day, it gets old in like 2 days.
Yeah.
That game had a good 32 hours in it, or maybe more if you like do something else in between gaming sessions.
So are you older than Wyatt?
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years. Are you the youngest?
Yep, I am.
Out of 4?
Yeah, 4.
Okay.
So you mentioned video games as an escape,
Mm-hmm.
and there might not be any place deeper to go than that. But if it was an escape from something, what would be an escape from?
What video games were escape from?
Yeah,
Just normal life, I guess.
like the tedium of life.
Well, now it's probably more than an escape even because it's a hobby now. But yeah, just a distraction. Because sometimes there's aspects of life that aren't necessarily enjoyable. I don't necessarily like working 40 hours a week. And it gets pretty monotonous, right? Or you have a bad day and you just want to relax for a second in front of something that doesn't matter.
So is it more like a better place to go, like a happy place?
It's a place that I go to feel accomplished because I don't necessarily feel accomplished at work or in life.
Oh, I see.
And like, for example, I'm a major trophy hunter on PlayStation Network. I think I'm almost to level 20, which is a big deal. I have like almost 30 platinums, which is like nothing to gawk at for some people. But to me, it's just like, this is my sense of accomplishment. They're not even real. I can't even put them on the table if I wanted to. They're just a digital number on a screen. But like, to me, it makes me feel like I'm accomplished. When I look at other players that I've played with and I see that my number is higher than theirs, I feel like I'm accomplished, you know? I feel like I'm getting something done. Even in reality, I'm not. But like, I feel like it's important work that's done. It tricks my mind into thinking that I'm successful.
I see. So it's kind of like a self-perpetuated illusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want to leave the Matrix.
Nope. I would, if Morpheus offered me that pill, I would take the one that did not send me into the Matrix.
The blue pill, right?
Yeah, it's the blue pill.
I've only seen the
It's
movie
the blue
once,
pill.
years ago.
And the guy Cypher, he makes a lot of sense in that movie. Every time I watch it and I see him explaining, because he wants to go back into the Matrix.
Oh,
He says that he's been lied to and he's eating like slop every day. He's stuck in a tank without windows. There's no sun. They're wearing rags all the time. And like the Matrix looks very appealing. They're eating nice food. They get to see beautiful views. I totally understand why someone would rather stay in the Matrix than go to where Morpheus is trying to lead them. He's leading them to a tin can, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, things are never.
But it's real.
Things are never awesome, right? In the real world.
Well, seldomly. But yeah, well, there's moments.
What moments? So there's the part. All I remember is in the third one when like they break above the clouds in their
Yeah.
spaceship or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Wow!" And then they crash, and Trinity has rebar
Okay.
poking through her
All right.
chest, right?
Point taken.
Like there's this one golden moment, and then someone's impaled by rebar.
Yeah.
But did they save humanity, Jordan? Was it worth it?
I guess so. I mean, everybody in the Matrix was happy in the end, right? Like, I forget the Oracle, right? And there's the little girl who
Yeah.
said she made a rainbow for Neo or something.
Mhm.
But they were both inside the Matrix still. So I guess they weren't real people. They were just NPCs or something. I don't know what they were.
Well, we'll find out when they make another one, which they're planning on.
Oh,
They are. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I did hear about that.
But there were all those
Everyone's-
people that weren't real people, right? Like the Oracle wasn't, and her bodyguard wasn't a person in
They
the
were a
Matrix.
program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the, was it Keymaster? Was that his name?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we'll find out when they make another one. And what's weird is the actor that played Trinity is going to be in it, which means she's not really dead or she's going to be a memory or something. Yeah, no, we'll find out what actually happened in that one.
Probably the Matrix makes a copy of everybody, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out in 2023 or 4. They've only talked about it. Nothing's been done about it.
It seems like if you can simulate reality, right, enough that a person, like, even after they leave the Matrix, right, there's always this question of are you in there or not?
Mm-hmm.
And the Matrix being so real that, like, your corporeal body will manifest bullet wounds if your brain believes it has been wounded by bullets. Like, if you can do that, then of course you could just copy a person. It would be simple, right? By comparison.
Mhm.
Probably, yeah. And even after you defeat the machines, say, wouldn't humanity just have their own problems with people creating simulations in order to make a better life? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, people would be diving right back in.
yeah, because the whole thing is, the humans are enslaved; they're just acting as batteries for the machines. But I mean, that it's kind of like the type of prison that people would voluntarily go into. It's like,
Right.
just throw me into a paradise that my mind thinks is real, and I'll just vegetate in this chair in the real world. But who cares?
You can have all the energy you want.
I'm living a good life here, right? Like, it seems like you don't solve the problem, right? You don't solve the problem of the Matrix being so real and so much better that the people would just want to be there anyway.
Yeah. So video games are your Matrix.
Definitely.
Your Cypher.
I talk to the agent, and he hooks me up with video games all the time for codes to Zion. I would give every access code to Zion I had.
Oh, Cypher was a snitch. I didn't remember
He was,
that.
he's a villain in it.
And he killed a bunch of people, man. He unplugged APOC and Switch, and he shot, what's his name, Tank, with the arc welder or whatever, and killed his brother Dozer. Yeah, what a jerk, man. He ruined everything, Jordan.
He went a little too far to get to the Matrix.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have just plugged him back in if he'd asked, right?
Yeah. Why can I just be plugged in and you guys leave me here? You're good.
Morpheus like, no, man.
Yeah.
You don't know what's good for you. I know what's good for you.
Yeah. But we don't need to pick the movie apart.
Yeah.
The Wachowski brothers probably didn't want to put that in the script.
Yeah. Video games for sure, I think, are like, escape is often used as like a derogatory term, but like if you ask people why they like reading books, they'll tell you basically the same thing. They'll say, I get to experience a story or a life or an event that is not mine, that somebody else experienced or somebody else made up, and I get to gain that knowledge or kind of put myself in that person's shoes and see their perspective and see what they experienced without having to have done it myself. It's kind of what books are, right? And in a lot of ways, video games are, or can be, in a more interactive version of that, right? Because I tend to play video games for story, which is why probably role-playing games are my favorite genre. And when you talk about games the way we've been talking about it, a lot of people consider it unhealthy or I don't know, just not a good thing to be looking for or getting escape or experiencing something like the world of imagination through games, but yet none of that stigma exists around books.
No.
I would agree. People, like, certain things have like a negative stigma around them as a hobby, but like others don't. For example, if you play sports every single day, no one's ever going to make fun of you because, well, that's a useful skill. Well, as useful as anything else is, really, and it's as much of a hobby as anything else is either. Video games, comic books, sports, it's all the same, whatever outlet you like expressing yourself in. And I agree with you, like, you have a book that's a form of media, really, that you can escape to and learn a story about. And I think a video game is like a culmination of almost every single art form. Because not only are you put into a visual art form that you're not even just seeing one frame of, you're seeing as many aspects of it as you want to. You can see it in a million different weather patterns as you want to. You can see it during a sunset or a sunrise, depending on some game and what time of day you're playing. And it has music in the background. And it puts you in the middle of it, having you make decisions in the middle of it, which no other media really makes. A movie is like being on a train. You're along for the ride till you get to the end of the rails. But a book is like being in a car and you get to choose the destination you want to, or a game is like a car, you get to choose the destination you want to arrive at. And depending on the game, they give you a lot of choices on where you want to go. Like, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, there's a million directions you can walk in that game. There's another game called Horizon Zero Dawn, and there's a ton of directions you can walk in and mountainscapes that you can get to the top of. And like that's interesting that you can view it and see it in that many different ways. And then you have a narrative behind it if you choose to continue forwards with it. Or you can stay in the very first area if you choose. That's the cool thing about video games is there's agency involved in them for you.
Haven't you ever heard me talk like this before, Jordan? He's sounding a lot like me. Because especially the beginning part where I've often said that in the past people considered opera to be the culmination of like all art forms into one because they had like costumes and acting and singing and music and everything. And then, but the video games are like that in our time, in our modern times, because like, they combine the visuals.
Video games are opera?
Heck yeah. They're the highest art form that combines all other art forms into one experience. Because like I said, graphics, music, storytelling, interactivity, it's all there. Everything you could get from any individual thing like movies, books, TV, or whatever, the video game can incorporate all of those and combine them into one experience.
And you can sing in them like in the opera. For example, Kingdom Hearts, you can sing with Ariel and press the button inputs to sing with her on the bottom of the sea. It's pretty cheesy if you're an adult male playing it.
Cheesy and memorable, it sounds like.
Yeah, very.
And it sounds like you did sing with Ariel.
I did. Well, you have to. It's part of the story. If you want to progress, you better get down and start getting your lungs going.
Is it Zora that sings with Ariel, or are you another character?
So the second one, I think you sing with her in the first one, but the second one, there's actual button inputs, and you have to go back to her planet repeatedly to sing with her repeatedly. It's like 2 or 3 times. It's a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Kingdom Hearts is predominantly played by young girls, but I don't think
it is.
It's adult males, I'm pretty sure. It's an RPG.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just some jaded programmer
It's
taking out his revenge.
I think that they tried to market Kingdom Hearts to young people and
Didn't work.
boys and girls, and it just ended up because I think video games is for males and particularly adult males. Not to say that kids and females don't play video games, but we're the biggest part of the market. It feels like to me, I run into guys that are gamers way often than I run into kids or women.
Absolutely.
So why do you think that is?
I think we're all trying to escape, in my opinion, but I just side with what I think. I was like, he probably thinks like I think.
So the women are trying to be outside of the matrix and the men want to be in?
But the thing is, video games have so much to offer that there's probably a lot of reasons that people play them. And there's so many different kinds of video games that appeal to so many different kinds of markets. Like you've got the NBA 2K series that really applies to people that are major fans of the NBA franchise and like watching basketball. And they can hop in there and they can start their own career. And get this, like you have that feeling of accomplishment. When you play My Career in NBA 2K, you were the greatest NBA player that has ever existed. I averaged 100 points a game by myself. 100 points. I beat Wilt Chamberlain's record in it. Wilt Chamberlain supposedly scored 100 points in a game. It's never been filmed, so they can't prove it. I put 125 down in the game and broke his record.
And the game recognizes that you broke
You
the
get
record?
it. Yeah, something pops up. Wilt Chamberlain's record has been broken. There's announcers that are talking about you.
Sorry, Wilt.
I call
one
it.
up.
I call it the Skyrim effect. Because in Skyrim, everybody makes you think like you're the greatest thing that's ever happened, particularly in Skyrim, because you're Dragonborn. No one's seen you for 1,000 years. You're Dragonborn, and that's what it's like in NBA 2K. You're like the greatest thing that has ever existed in NBA.
Oh, there's lots of games like that, aren't there? Where you're the greatest thing that existed.
Yeah.
Like think of Knights of the Old Republic, right?
Yeah.
If there was a wrong or a right somewhere, you will reverse it totally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you're the only real actor in the universe.
Yeah.
Everyone else is a helpless princess compared to you.
Yeah. If you're underappreciated in life, then pop a video game in like that, and you will feel like you're on top of the world all of a sudden. Thank you for saving our lives. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I think that's part of it is you get to be involved in it, like in NBA 2K. I like 2K16 a lot more than I like the recent ones, but it's fun to play in an NBA season and watch everything play out. And you be a part of it instead of just actually watching it stay in sports. And the people that have made that game have tried really, really hard to make it extremely realistic.
Is it realistic though?
It's extremely
'Cause,
realistic,
like,
yeah.
if you were scoring routinely 125 points a game, would
Okay,
just
so-
everyone on the other team guard you the whole game?
Let me rephrase that. Depends on the difficulty. If you're in Hall of Fame difficulty, yes, they will triple team you.
Well, it
But
only makes sense, right? Like, you don't need to worry about the rest of the team.
Yeah.
One
Just
person.
stop that one guy.
Yeah.
the rest of the players are more real life.
They should just
You're
be
not.
trying to injure you.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they should.
Try to break your ankle and get you ejected from the game or whatever. Yeah.
But games have holes in them, and that's the NBA 2K series especially has glitches in it like a ton. They put one out every year. Horrible idea. Horrible idea. Last year's,
Sure,
if you
it
had
makes them horribly rich though.
oh yeah, there was so many glitches in it. If you put a certain shirt on, you were invisible on the ball court. Absolutely invisible. The ball would fly from nowhere and shoot from nowhere. No one could see you. You could just score anywhere you wanted. They didn't fix that glitch for like 2 months. And then they have their VC glitches, which is their microtransaction in it. But yeah, so it depends. Some people respect the art form, and I think the people that make that game respect that they make the game real, but they don't respect to make a game without glitches in it. Because if they did, they would take longer than just a year to make a game. They would take 2 years to make it, or whatever it took. I can often tell when someone's really paid attention to glitches in their game when the updates come in. And like if a game has had like no updates after it's come out, that's a big deal. That means they made a great game right off the bat. Because like back on PS1 days, when you put a game out, you had to make sure the glitches were gone because they would plague the players if they weren't. Now
There's
it's
no
like,
patching back then.
yeah, incomplete game, put it on the market, we'll fix it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, their business model is that they want to constantly update the roster because people care about the rosters of the teams and the players being accurate. But that's something that you could like do with like an expansion or DLC instead of releasing a new version of the game every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do.
Because you have to start a new player each time. There's been a couple of times where they let you upload your old player, and then people buy the VC, which is what levels your player up, his jump shooting, and all of his other stats. And they spend tons of money on VC. I estimate it probably take like 500,000 VC to max a player out, and you can get like 100,000 VC for $60. So people just spend tons of money doing it. It's similar to Fortnite if they play it that way.
Pay to win.
Yeah.
It sounds like. Is there multiplayer?
Yeah, there's multiplayer online mostly. I don't know if there's offline.
And so you could be put up against somebody who spent like $300 making their character max.
Yes. So
That sounds terrible.
in 2K19, might have been in 18 as well, they made it so that you actually had to play the game to get to that point, to actually max your stats out.
Mhm.
But you had to, what was it? It was like overall rating. So it goes from 0 to like 100. You start off at like 60. So once you get up to 100, you had to, or up to 80, you were capped until you got a bunch of experience points. Then it could go up to 100. It would take you like 200, 300 hours playing the normal career to get that from 80 to 100. And that's not even the VC. You should get the VC as you go. So they changed it in that one so you couldn't pay to win. But they made it so you had to do monotonous games over and over and over and over and over again until
Very
you got there.
grindy, yeah.
Yes. Which is what the players complained about in it. But I don't think there's a single NBA 2K19 fan that isn't angry about some aspect of the game if it's not the glitches or the VC or something in it.
Yeah. I've never really played sports games. And the last time I was playing sports games was like around Super Nintendo, maybe N64. We used to play like Tecmo Super Bowl and
Yeah.
NBA Jam, stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't really done sports since then. NHL 94, that was a good one. Super
Yeah.
Nintendo. NHL 94, yeah. Since then, I've mostly done RPGs though.
Yeah. And that's, as far as like money's concerned, I think that's the best bang for your buck.
For sure. Yeah.
RPGs go a long time most of the time. There aren't microtransactions in them most of the time. Yep. And they tell like the best story. And I think some of the
Yeah.
best game makers are in them as well.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the people that made the God of War game, the one that just barely came out, those people know how to make a game. You can go from beginning to end. You won't see a single load time, not even one. They don't break you from the cinematic of the story at all if you don't want to. You can, from the beginning credits to the end credits, you won't see a single load time. They hit everything. And like really, I think like intelligent programming, they put a load time in as like this world tree type thing that you run across. and you just run, and the doorway opens once the game's loaded. You're not waiting for anything. You get to play. There's like talking going on in it. When you're on like the ocean, and I'm sure the game is loading the next area, there's talking and story and editorial getting you to that point, which is super cool. And the story's really engaging and engrossing, and the gameplay is incredibly fun.
I've heard a lot of good things about that game, but I don't own a PlayStation. They haven't ported it to PC, Jordan.
How come you don't own a PlayStation?
Because I already have so many games on PC that I'll probably never get through them all.
I see.
I have approximately 800 games on Steam.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then I have the Switch. And I haven't beaten all the games I have on Switch either, so I would have to get through more games. Because, yeah, I'm at the point where it's hard for me to even justify buying any games except for like the ones that I really want to play. Because my backlog is so huge. And then, in addition to that, almost everything like in like the modern times, whatever, has already been ported to PC except for maybe like I could probably come up with a list of 10 games at most on PlayStation that haven't made it over. And so I'd really be buying a console just for like, you know, a small percentage of games now. Because so Red Dead Redemption just made it to PC. That one was on my list. And most of them, like, eventually do, like Monster Hunter World initially was PS4 only. That made it to PC. Final Fantasy 15 made it to PC. 7 is going to be PS4 only for a while, I think, but then I don't see them not ever bringing it to PC, so I'll just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And so really all that's left are games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Persona 5,
Marvel Spider-Man's one of them.
Spider-Man, and then maybe like the Uncharted series. So like, yeah, like, it's hard to come up with more than 10 games though that I can't already play on PC or Switch. So
yeah, that's true. I would say of all the consoles, the PC probably reigns supreme for the most part. And then I would put, in my opinion, PS4 in number 2 position for exclusive games.
Yeah.
And for price even as well. You can get a PS4 for cheaper than you can get a Switch right now.
Yeah, it's $200 on Black Friday, Jordan, with 3 games.
My word.
Out of those 3 games, I think all 3 of them I mentioned already. I think it's Last of Us. Were the other ones that it comes with. Last of Us is God of War one. I know Horizon Zero Dawn is. So Last of Us and Horizon Zero Dawn are 2 of the 3 games it comes with. $200 Black Friday, Jordan.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good.
And all those games are only $20 now too. The nice thing about the PlayStation exclusives is they all drop in price really fast. Nintendo does not drop its prices.
They don't.
On anything.
No.
Yeah, they got good parental controls though. That's why I'm sticking there. So I'm going to force my kids not to be in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Someday they'll be plugged in all the time, I'm sure. But for now, no one's going to be in the Matrix except for Friday and Saturday night.
That's the only night they can play?
Oh, they play other times too. So here's the system. So Friday, it's available for 4 hours. Saturday, it's available for 4 hours. And then if they want to play games for the family home evening activity, I'll let them. And then also, if they want to invite a friend over to play for a couple hours once a week, they can. So that is the complete program.
So how do you divide up the 4 hours on like Friday and Saturday? Because
So-
you have more kids than you're allotting hours.
Yeah. So far, they haven't divided it up. I mean, we've only played 4-player games, and they just take turns, like level turns.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are young. Like my youngest boy, he's happy just to watch.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to play all the time. And then my youngest daughter, too. She doesn't feel like she needs to play all the time. We'll just play a little bit.
Back when I was young, my parents limited us to 15 minutes a day. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
15 minutes a
per
day.
kid.
That's like nothing.
That's nothing. And that's why I play so much now, to make up for all that lost time. But anyway, what we used to do is, as long as, if everyone was playing, it was still only counting as one person's time. So we could play a 3-player game like Secret of Mana for 45 minutes, all 3 of us together. So that's usually what we did. We tried to find some kind of multiplayer co-op game. And we'd play it for my 15 minutes, and my older brother's 15 minutes, my younger brother's 15 minutes, and we just keep going. And we could get almost an hour, Jordan, playing games. was the best we could do.
I'm gonna let my kids play as much as they want to make themselves sick of it.
Right?
Yeah. And not that I would ever give alcohol to a minor, but if you find a 13-year-old and you gave him a shot, I don't think he'd ever drink again. Like, that's disgusting. That's what I hope video games do to my kids, playing them a lot. They're like, man, I'm kind of done with this. I want to go outside.
It's not going to happen. Kids can eat sugar and screen time. So I have a friend at work. He says, my daughter, when she's eating real food, she'll get full. She'll stop. When she's eating candy, there's no notion of being full. As long as there's more candy, she will keep eating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be able to tell you how it all works out then in the end.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm making a monster.
We'll have a reunion episode in 20 years. Talk about what our kids are doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of mine will be playing video games.
Mine's not going to have any shortage of them. I have almost every single console that's come out and tons of games for each single one. So he's not going to be short of anything.
You have one kid?
Yeah, at the moment.
How old?
He's 5 months right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's watched a lot of Pokemon so far.
but no actual experience.
He's seen about 600 toxels come out of an egg at this point in time. He knows how toxels are made.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned there being lots of different breeds of gamers playing different games. So for yourself, what do you think is the weirdest or the most unusual game that you enjoy or are into?
I wouldn't say that it's too weird, but Stardew Valley is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley is amazing. One guy made it by himself. He started with it. I don't think he finished it by himself, but he started it by himself. And as he continued to make it, he found better ways to build the game, so he'd start from scratch over and over again. But one of the cool things about it is the game's not anything necessarily amazing. It's very simple. You just farm. You get a farm from your grandpa when you get tired of life. He's like working on a computer at JoJo Mart. I don't know what he's doing for them. They're like a grocery store. And he gets sick of working on a computer, so he goes out to the farm, and you just start farming turnips at the start of it. You pick them up and you throw them in a box, and you make a ton of gold. You clear the land, the trees, the rocks. And it's really fun to play, and you can tell that the person that made it really loved it a lot. It's almost like when you're cooking food, add the love, you know? You don't think, it's weird to think that when you care about something, it turns out better, but it does. And like certain games, it feels like the makers don't care about them as much.
Yeah.
I don't care if a game is big or small. If the person that made it really cared about it, it's going to come through in it, and everybody else is going to fall in love with it too. Mm-hmm. That was probably the weirdest. You just farm. You can get married in it. The relationship means nothing. She's just on your property all of a sudden. And the thing she's into is on your property as well. One of them likes crystals. Her crystals are just all over in a corner, completely out of your way. You can pick to have a dog or cat in the beginning. Means nothing. There's a bowl you fill up with water every morning. That's all it means. You can pet it and a heart goes above it, and that's it. And you proceed through the game. I mean, you can complete the village tasks, put their, what is it? I'm having trouble thinking what they call it in it. But it's like a town place where everybody can go and visit. It's almost like a tavern where there's tons of things, but you help
like the
rebuild
community
it.
Center or something,
Community
right?
center,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah, you help rebuild the community center by catching all the fish for it and collecting all the animal parts for it, like bunny fur, whatever it takes to build it. Yep. The game was super simple. I probably put 100 hours into it easily. That one's pretty weird, but good.
All right.
Trying to think if there's anything else that's weird. But there is different types of gamers. There's ones that like sports games, and everybody probably goes into a couple of different categories or genres. And then you have like the music variety of games, like Guitar Hero was huge for a while. I don't feel like it is anymore, or Rock Band. Then you have shooters. There's people that love shooters. I feel like shooters, probably the Xbox is the best place to go. And then you've got like RPGs, which I think is the king of video games in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I'm biased though. We should disclaim that this podcast is going to have lots of opinions in it, which are some of the most offensive things people could ever say.
And anybody who listens to us knows that there are opinions flying around on this podcast.
That's right.
Sometimes striking people.
Yes.
Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime was also a pretty weird game that was super fun. I don't know if you ever played that one.
I have. That one's good. Yeah.
Yep.
Great co-op game.
Yep. Good relationship builder.
And not so good to try to play single player. It's not very fun single player.
Or relationship destroyer.
Yeah. The other game that's like that is Overcooked.
Oh yeah, I played
Overcooked is
too.
great.
You work in a kitchen together, and you can get really frustrated at each other if you're not playing the roles correctly.
Oh, yeah. My family already gets frustrated at each other
Yeah.
playing Mario.
Then those
right?
probably aren't the two games for them.
Or, yeah, any game that we play together, kids will get mad. Because, like in Mario, Super Mario, whatever, deluxe thing, you can pick people up, you can throw them off the edge, you can move faster than they're ready to move.
You bounce on their head while they're trying to jump over a pit. Yeah.
Well, the more people you have, the harder that game is going to be. I have that one too. Yep. Even with me and my wife, we've gotten really mad at each other on it. Accidentally jumped over her, kicked her straight into lava.
She got mad.
Yeah. You kicked me into lava. Why did you do that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was falling in it too. There's a button you can push where like you don't fall. Like if you're about to die, you can hit it and you can follow the other person.
Yeah.
As long as you both don't die, but yeah.
Both the shoulder buttons.
Mm-hmm.
L and R, ZL and ZR.
Something like that, yeah.
Forget what they labeled the buttons. They'll always be L1 and R1 to me from the PlayStation days.
So is your wife a big gamer?
Only with me, really. She likes playing multiplayer games because it's like a relationship building thing for us.
Except for Mario.
Yes, well, it depends. You can get really frustrated at each other, for sure. But, I mean, I didn't know how good of a team we were till we played, for example, Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, because there's like 4 guns. There's one on each side of the ship. There's a shield and then a pilot. And, like, you have to coordinate with each other. And, like, we communicated really well with each other. We beat the entire game from beginning to end with it. I was the pilot and shield guy. We used each other's strengths. She could not fly the ship. She kept crashing us into asteroids and rocks. A bomb would be going off. She couldn't get us out of the way of it. So you have to switch her roles around to actually accomplish it. And we have different gifts. Like we play Super Mario Party together, and you can play teams on it. And like we have completely different gifts. Like they hide the ball in the 3 cups and start spinning it around. Doesn't matter how many cups or how fast, she will find the item in it each time. I lose it the second it goes into the cup. Then I didn't even have to spin it. And she can find it like right away. And then when it comes to more like technical hand inputs for controls, I'm better at it than that. So we just really support each other in it, which is nice.
So she wasn't really much of a gamer until you got married then?
No, I think she's been the same always. She likes multiplayer games. She won't, she's been playing Pokemon. That's like the only thing I've ever seen her pick up and play single player. She can't even play it by herself. She has a TV rolling in the background with her cop shows on, like Blue Bloods or something. She has to have something else going on for her to be able to play. She cannot have a controller in her hand and that be on the screen for some reason. I don't like TV. She can sit and watch TV all day. It's just not engaging enough for me. I need to be problem solving something.
Yeah.
Or succeeding in getting another platinum or something. But she loves watching the same crime get solved over and over again. I didn't see that coming. How did you not see that coming?
Does she always smoke when she's gaming or watching
That's just
TV?
how her voice is in my head all the time for some reason. Yep.
So are you working on a platinum right now?
No, I was with Monster Hunter World, but the platinum for that is huge. It takes a long, long time to get it. That one's more of a long-term one for me. That one's one where I play, and then if I get what I need out of it, then that's great, and then I move on. But no, I'm currently trying to collect shinies in Pokemon.
What's your last platinum you got?
Let me think here for a second. I think it was Monster Hunter World, the regular one, not Iceborne. Iceborne came with its own platinum, but Monster Hunter World and then Enter the Gungeon was the one before that.
What do you have to do for the Monster Hunter World one?
The one that there's 2 golds in it that make it incredibly hard. It's giant crown hunting and small crown hunting. So the monsters are big or small, and there's the biggest they can get, and then you'll get a gold crown for it at the end, and then the smallest they can get. But the chances for some of them is incredibly hard. The last one I needed, I had to kill 120 of them before I finally saw it. And I wasn't even fighting all of them. If one looked like medium size or small, I got out of there. So yeah, I probably encountered 250 of that one monster just to get it. They put out event quests to make it quicker. There's 4 or 5 set monsters in an event quest, and the chances for a crown is really high. So it's only for some, not all. So the ones that it's not in there. For example, the one I didn't have was Nergigante. He was my last one. Yeah, it was 250 encounters. It took me 3 days to find him to get that trophy.
I started to get frustrated if I had to kill him more than 5 or 6 times to get a piece of gear.
Yeah.
Dang, he didn't drop his horns again.
Yeah.
What the heck?
You're a lightweight.
Yeah, apparently.
You're an infant.
Apparently, I'm I guess we're gonna do him again. We're gonna break his face again. We go in and kill him, and God, didn't get him again, and we just that and like Diablos getting his horns too was kind of a pain. I can't remember what they called. They had like a name for them, like Majestic Horn, I think.
Yep,
those were a pain to get, and I thought that was bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. You're just a filthy casual.
Apparently.
Me and my brother Drew, we're like the elitists of Monster Hunter World. Drew has like 800 hours in it. He hasn't even played the expansion. I have like 750 with the expansion. But no, we're like the guys that are on the Cult to Rock stage, and we like know where every single rock is. We don't even need a screen on to do it anymore. We get to the last area, put it to sleep, put a whole bunch of barrel bombs in front of its face, blow its head up, then someone will screw it up and we'll get mad. We'll say tail. No one know how to read English and tail, whatever that is. They don't ever go for the tail. They go for the horns, which is easy to break every time. Like, we know it so well, we get frustrated at people that have not sunk 700 or 800 hours into it. That siege is not built off of killing the monster, which is what most players don't understand. It's built off of breaking parts off of him.
I went in there a few times. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, he's covered in gold, so you're supposed to break everything off of him, which is the concept to get weapons off of him. He had the best weapons in the base game. So you had to fight him hundreds of times in order to get them. Fortunately, they didn't count him as a death, so you can't ever see how many you fought, which is smart because you just get mad that they made you fight like the most boring dragon hundreds of times over in a row. Yeah. Drew is ridiculous on that game. If you don't follow his directions to a T, he gets frustrated at you. He's hard to play with. Our brother.
Yeah, I know.
You bring the wrong weapon to it. You bringing a lance to Coup Roth? What are you thinking? What do you mean? What am I supposed to bring? Gotta bring a heavy bowgun. Check a YouTube video every once in a while. It's like, okay, Drew. You got it.
Now I'm wondering what my voice is again.
Yours is pretty normal, because yours is like mine. I don't have to imitate yours too much.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I only ever really used the insect glaive. That's it.
Okay.
I wasn't one of those people who like switched weapons. Yeah. I would just switch the element of my insect glaive, but I used that almost all the time. Towards the end, I started learning the switch axe. No, the charge blade.
Okay.
The charge blade. So, yeah, most of the other weapons I've never even touched, so I just didn't play it that much, I guess.
Yeah.
You're a filthy casual.
Yeah, clearly.
And I don't play at all. I'm just a civilian. We're Monster Hunters.
That's probably a good.
Rathalos?
Rathalos.
It's a sad game to play. I mean, they limp at the end. You've beaten them up so badly. They don't even want to fight you anymore. They're just trying to get away. And they take off, and you shoot a flash bomb. And they go blind, and they fall right out of the sky. And then you either kill them or capture them, which capturing them probably doesn't have a good ending either. But, yeah.
They just get experimented on, dissected.
Yeah. It's super sad. Every single time my wife sees one limp away, why are you playing this game? It's so sad. And I was like, it gets worse, because some of them don't even want to start anything with you. Some of them, they'll walk right next to you like a dog. They don't want to attack.
Yeah.
And then they'll sit down, and then you'll put bombs in their face and blow them up.
So the meaning of Monster Hunter is that you are a monster, hunting dragons.
Yeah.
Yep. Or it could be like sleeping. You got like a great sword charging it. Wham! Just like chop him right in the face while he's taking a nap.
Yep. Yeah. I almost want to say like 1/4 of the giant monsters in the game are quite peaceful.
Yeah.
And you just show up to harvest parts off of them and make armor.
Yeah. I would say the same thing about Minecraft. You could set up like a creeper mill to get gunpowder or whatever, or a zombie mill or whatever. My oldest boy set one up once. It's like a waterfall with some lava at the bottom that will kill them, and then you get a bunch of experience. I'd ask him, who's the real monster?
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of The Last of Us. That's what they say in that, too. There's a guy who's holding up a city by himself, and he says the monsters in it aren't the thing that he's afraid of. People are the things he's actually afraid of because they're unpredictable. I was like, very true.
The Last of Us, is that new?
No, not really. It came out probably 2013, 2014. No, it's been popular for a long time. The sequel's coming out in like 6 months or something.
Sci-fi.
5-6 months.
What's the premise of Last of Us?
Apocalyptic. It's in the future. It's also there's some games that are super focused on story, and that's one of them. That it tells like an incredible story, and like grips you right from the beginning. But like some virus spreads that's turning people into like a fungus. They're almost like mushrooms. It's like growing out of them, makes them go crazy, and they can't control themselves, and they're super violent, basically.
Oh, I see. Like the poor ants.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie starts off with the epidemic, or the game starts off with the epidemic starting, people in the hospital getting it, and like the world's still somewhat together, and your main character's fairly young with a young daughter, and then like it goes from there. It takes 20 years into the future after that starting moment, after the world's already been eaten and destroyed, basically. And it's overgrown, and it's super beautiful to walk through. Yep, and you just, you try, well, the girl's supposedly immune, or is immune to the virus, so you're trying to take her across the country to Salt Lake City in the end.
What's she gonna do there? Visit Temple Square?
The
Yeah.
temple's in it, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, way in the background. They programmed it in, which is cool to see. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a zombie apocalyptic game, but it's got incredible story and incredible character development.
Yeah, I need to play it, but it's not on PC, Jordan.
It probably never will be,
Probably not. Yeah.
No,
If it's not by now, it's probably never going to
because
be.
Naughty Dog is owned by Sony, and just because of that, Sony will probably never let it go to anything else.
Mhm.
I don't know why most games don't want to put their stuff on PC, because I don't feel like PC is competing with consoles. It's in its own world. It doesn't even have a brand. You can play on any PC.
Yeah.
You can even custom make your own. They're not console competitors with them. I don't see why they're so bothered by it.
Yeah. It's definitely on my to-do list, though. Heard nothing but good things about it. When are you going to get back into video games, Jordan?
Never.
Never?
I play the ukulele. Thought we already established that.
Once you get bored of the ukulele. you
Sure,
will.
once I've conquered the ukulele, I
Yeah,
don't think that
once
would
you've
happen.
mastered it.
I'm not trying to master it, though. I like to sing ukulele, just, harmony or melody, whatever.
The ukulele's your escape, huh?
No, it's just a thing I do for fun.
Hmm.
I don't need an escape. I could do my job all day, every day. I wouldn't even need to come home.
Yeah.
Just, code for 16 hours, sleep for 8. I could do that.
What's that Adventure Time quote? It's that Finn says something like "Imagination is for turbo nerds who can't handle how awesome reality is." Isn't that it?
Yeah, that's me. I'm basically
you.
Finn
You're
from
Finn the
Adventure
Human.
Time.
Imagination. I need to memorize that one. It's such a good quote. Turbo nerds who can't handle how awesome reality is. Do you watch Adventure Time?
No, but I've heard it's amazing.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
I certainly get bored at times, but I'm almost never bored at work. Time just flies by.
Kind of does for me too. I'm always just bouncing around to everything. Constantly. It's one thing that I find interesting about project management is that most of my job is still like helping facilitate whatever problems happen to come up. So like, I never know what I'm going to do each day in the morning. It's like, okay, like there's things that are on my list to do, but throughout the day, I'll just get like random people saying, hey, I need, explain how to do this, or can you, clarify something on this design, or can you look at this defect to see if it's serious, and that ends up being probably more than half my day every day is just like the random requests and questions and stuff that come up. Which is kind of nice because then it's, it's kind of fast paced and predictable.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Better than being a turbo nerd. Having to live off imagination.
That's what I do when I get home, though, Jordan. I get home and fire up video games.
Finn's not really one to talk, though, because he lives in a fantasy world.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, the very first episode, isn't he chasing a unicorn dragon or no, a rainbow unicorn thing? Isn't that the first episode or the pilot? Lady Chromacorn?
Rainicorn.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's chasing her in the first episode.
I think she is.
No, the first episode is the zombies, where Princess Bubblegum resurrects all the dead candy
Wasn't
people
there
as zombies.
isn't there a pilot episode, though?
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know. You know more about Adventure Time than I do.
Clearly.
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 only seen episode 1.
Oh, there's some great ones you should watch, Jordan. Good stuff. Quality entertainment.
Oh, we'll have to plan an evening of it or something.
Maybe. So I'm going to the release party of Starsight on Tuesday. Are you a Brandon Sanderson fan? Do you read books?
I do read books. I've never
Yeah.
read that one.
No?
Mm-mm.
Have you read any of his other stuff? Brandon
not at
Sanderson?
all.
No. Okay. Not Mistborn or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Words of Radiance,
Yeah.
mega novels of excessive length.
They are long. Skyward is not that long, though. I think it's 500 pages. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all right. That's
I usually
not
read
bad.
digitally, so it's hard for me to remember page count. But yeah, his sequel to that is coming out on Tuesday, and so I got tickets to the release party. I need to follow up with Roland to see if he's going with me. He said he would, but it'll be a good time, Jordan. Maybe you should come.
Yeah.
It's free to get in. You got better stuff going on Tuesday night, Jordan?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My kids don't want me to be home.
I don't take you for a party.
No, they want you to go to this so that they can
I'm
play the
bored.
Switch while you're out of the house. While you're not there to enforce the time limit. That's what they want, Jordan.
Kids do force you to be a homebody, though. I'm grateful that my hobby is video games, because if I like skiing or rock
Yeah.
climbing, I couldn't do it right
Yeah.
now. That is impossible.
Yep.
And you've had a young kid in the house for how many years now? 15,
A lot
16?
of them.
Yeah.
A long time.
You can have as many kids as Jordan?
No.
No? Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Probably 2 or 3, maybe.
Large families are hard on everyone.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Or at least everyone I know in my family.
It's hard on everyone in there.
Yeah.
I know Emmy struggles with it the most, right?
Maybe the most. She might just be the most vocal about it.
Mm.
I think she's a bit negative too. Just her personality. Just good at finding things to complain about.
Well, I tried to tell her what life was going to be like after she's out of there. She'd come home to her apartment and it'd be quiet, and then you sit down and it's quiet, and then you turn on your TV and the only thing you hear is your TV, and then you go to bed and it's quiet.
Adulthood will be a great liberation for all of them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe.
Well, it depends. The introverted ones probably will like being alone more.
Yeah. They're already alone quite a bit now. They just go to their rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't understand it. I wasn't that way as a kid.
Hmm.
I didn't spend hours and hours in my room.
Well, you and Drew were playing Tekken 2, it seemed like, in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.
All right.
Yeah, we played a crap ton of video games even after they stopped being interesting.
Yeah, well, back then.
Banjo-Kazooie was not the first game
Yeah.
I kept playing when I should have stopped.
Well, video games have changed a lot since, 1996, 1997?
Oh,
You had like 2 or 3 good games maybe a year, but more than likely 1 or 2. And now it's like 10, 12, 15 amazing games.
yeah.
coming
More
out.
than you can play.
Yeah. Now there's 1 million consoles on the market, including Google's that came out this last week.
Oh, Google have a console now?
Stadia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cloud based. They process the game on their servers and then stream it to you over the internet onto your screen through Chromecast, I believe.
So, do they have a snowball's chance in heck?
No, their launch was bad. Their launch was not
Just
good.
doesn't like the only reason I could think of is like you wanted the live streaming thing built in with some tracking and it's like them collecting all of your data. If that's what you wanted, then sure, the Google platform is for you, right? Like you can't voluntarily live stream. Everything you do is live stream.
Yeah. Well, they've got a few problems. One being they were claiming that it was going to have 4K graphics. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyways. They doubled up the amount of video games they were going to have really close to launch. It was only going to have 11, but then like 2 or 3 weeks before launch, they said 22. Most of those games, I think all but one, are on console already, and they've been released for a while already, which means if you already have the console, it's going to be far cheaper for you to get that game that you want on it out of the 22, just to get it on the console that you have. And yeah, I mean, you can, put it on a computer, a phone, a TV. There's a handful of items. But one of the other things that Google did wrong is they didn't even ship the pre-orders out on time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that pre-ordered it were checking the tracking, and Google hadn't even put it in the mail yet. It wasn't even the shipper's fault. It was their fault that their product didn't get out. And everybody's calling it a beta, which is fine to call it a beta, but they're charging you money for their beta, which is not quite right for something that doesn't even have all of its kinks worked out yet. Yeah, they're introducing into a market that it's just too competitive for what they're offering.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But Google has a lot of money, so I mean they can flush it out with time, but I don't think they should have released it when they did based on the problems they're having right now.
Or they can waste a lot of money, like Microsoft did with their own line of smartphones, right?
Yeah,
Which
I had one. They were horrible. That was a bad phone.
I didn't hate mine, but
Google also built up a reputation of canceling things just out of the blue.
oh yeah.
And so a
They
lot
have
of people
that.
are worried that if it doesn't, like, if like a year or two from now they decide it hasn't panned out like they thought, they'll just like axe the service and everything you bought,
Yeah,
all your game licenses and everything just go away.
right. They do have a reputation. Kind of makes them a dicey choice for video games.
Yeah. And the other problem they had was most of the people following it and were interested in it and were posting on it only had negative things to say about it. There wasn't anybody that showed any hype for it at all, which is very abnormal because the uprunning next generation of consoles like the Xbox Scarlet and PS5 have a lot of positive things said about them. A lot of it's rumor, but some of it's true. Like the PS5 is going to be PS5 2.1 backwards compatible. Be able to play anything on it. The load times are supposed to be cut down to like 2 seconds or nothing for most games. They put like Spider-Man 4 on one of its engines, I guess, and Spider-Man 4's load times were cut down to like 2 seconds, which is crazy because it had huge load times on it. And the other thing is like there's going to be sequels for its exclusives already in line, like God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn 2 are going to come out, and they're more than likely going to be on it, considering it's rumored, and this one isn't confirmed, it's rumored to come out next holiday season. But there's positive reception about it that's getting passed around from people. And the problem with Google's console is there's lots of negative reception about it being passed around the internet, which is just horrible marketing for them. In the market that they're in, and with the competition that they're in, they should have flushed it out way better if they were going to try and succeed with it, if they do give up on projects as easily as you guys say they do.
Yeah. Google Reader's one they killed. What's the other one they've killed recently? Seems like there's another one. I can't remember.
They're killing Hangouts
Oh yeah,
in June.
Google Plus is another one
Google
that
Plus
they
they
killed.
killed.
So I didn't do well, but I know there's a guy in my neighborhood had a tabletop gaming group on there, right? That was their spot. Google's shutting it down.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Stadia is going to have the same future then.
Yeah. I expect it will. I mean, that's what my prediction is for it.
Yeah.
It's like, what reason is there to get it? And since no one's going to get it, Google's going to kill it.
Yeah.
So there's a double reason not to get it.
It will have more games by the end of the year. I think it's supposed to jump up to like 40 or 50, but
Google should just pull the plug now.
yeah.
Out of a service to the people that might be interested, right?
Yeah.
What they should do is what Epic has been doing. Epic's been giving away a free game or two every week since like summer on PC, just to try to pull people away from Steam. And because the first thing they did was they started signing exclusive deals, so it's like this game isn't going to go to Steam for like a year, and that made everybody angry because they were introducing like, you know, exclusivity into PC, which has never really had it before. But then they still kind of did that exclusive tactic, which I'm not happy about. But then they started giving away free games every week, and so now I have like 30 games on the Epic Store that they just gave me because I log in every week and take their free game. That's the kind of thing that Google should probably be doing, you know, like if they want me to, because their whole model is you still buy the game. I think you can buy a subscription and just play anything too, but they sell game licenses on Stadia. It's like you can own a license there and then you can stream it through Chromecast on your TV or whatever. If they gave away games, I think it'd be easier for people to give it a try.
Yeah.
Because I'm not about to buy something on there, you know.
Yeah, typically gamers are not rich, so the console that's the most affordable is the one that usually is the most successful, which is one of the reasons why the PS4 did so much better than the Xbox One. There's 100 million PS4s out there. There's only 40 million Xbox Ones out there. And Xbox One launched $100 more expensive than PS4
Because they
did.
bundled the Kinect.
Yep, it's $500 for a Xbox One, and it was $400 for a PS4.
It's lots of money.
Yep. Which is why I think that the Switch's sales are going to plateau, because they're not dropping prices on games or their console. Which it's an important thing. When your sales start to decline, you want to drop your prices to keep sales continuing onwards. Nintendo just leaves their prices the same. The Switch has been out 3 years, I believe now, and it's still the same price.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up Super Mario Odyssey the other day on Amazon. It's still almost $60.
Yeah. If you're lucky, you can find it for like 40. I think that's probably the lowest. On a good sale, you'll find it for like 40, 45.
Yeah. KSL is usually a good place to go to for that. You can find games a lot better priced than you can at GameStop or on Amazon sometimes.
Good to know.
Yep. PlayStation, it seems like, has been on top of the console market for a long time. Also looked it up the other day. The top 10 consoles that have the highest sales in consoles, PlayStation is in 5 of those spots, including the number 1 with PS2.
PS2's number 1, huh?
Yeah, it had like 150 million units sold. I was like, geez, that thing sold well. Even the PS1 has sold better, I think, than the PS4, but I think that's only because it broke a ton. Even ours sat upside down on a towel to make it run right.
We own several of them. That number is padded.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Uh-huh.
Whereas I think for PS4s, people have probably owned 2 of them. I've owned 2 of them. I took my regular PS4 into a GameStop a year ago now, and I asked them what they traded in for, and I was expecting to hear like $90, $110, $200 he would give me for my used PS4. A 500 gigabyte one. I didn't even have a terabyte one. And he said, yeah, we'll give you $200 if you come in and get a Pro with it too. And I was like, sold. I brought it back in 10 minutes. And I asked him what an Xbox One resells for. It was like almost half. It's like $110. And he said, Xbox Ones just don't hold their value. And I was like, huh, that is surprising. He's like, yeah, PS4 won the prize on this one.
There's not a whole lot of reason to get an Xbox, if you ask me.
No.
Because they play pretty much everything that a PC plays. And then they don't really have the exclusives that PlayStation has.
No.
The only reason to get an Xbox is if all your friends have one and you want to play with them.
Yep.
That's really
The console.
all they have going for them.
I agree. The console that has the most exclusive games is Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't release its games on anything else, and they have a lot of games that they release on their console, which is good for them. They don't have much third-party support, but they release their own games, which are widely popular. And then I think PS4 has the next most exclusives. Yep, those are the 2 consoles to get if you were to pick one right now. It might be different when the next generations come out, but we will see.
So you're going to get a PS5 when it launches?
Uh,
Or do you usually wait a little while for it to
It
drop?
depends. So when a console launches, it seems like they're really glitchy. Like I believe when 4 and Xbox One came out, like disc trays were opening, consoles were crashing like crazy. I will not get one if there's not a good game to come out on it. PlayStation has said that they're going to take or suffer the brunt of the cost for the console when it comes out, meaning they I guess they're going to go in the negative for the customers that buy it, because they want to have people upgrade immediately, especially if it's backwards compatible. But I'm not going to get it if there's not something good to play on it. If it had like Bloodborne or Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on it, I'd be like first in line. But if it doesn't have anything, then I'm not even going to touch it.
So out of all the games that you know that are coming out in the next year or so, what are some of the ones you're most looking forward to?
That's a good question. I really like From Software a lot. And I don't know if it's next year, Elden Ring. I can't remember. What's the name of the guy that wrote the Game of Thrones series?
R.R. Martin, George R.R. Martin.
He wrote the story for that for them, so they teamed up together to make that game, which I think the story and the gameplay is going to be amazing, because the Dark Souls games have never really had like good story. They do, but you have to sift through a million item inventories to see what it is. It's always in item descriptions, and you have to like sit and read them all. It's easier to just go to YouTube where someone's done it for you. But like I imagine their gameplay and his story would make an incredibly good game. Not to mention they design fantastic worlds. I haven't looked up their release date for it though. I don't know if it's in the next year. I imagine The Last of Us 2 is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to wait for the review on it though, for sure, before it actually Because when it comes to $60, I trust IGN on it. Like, they get a little biased sometimes. Every single Nintendo reviewer I've seen on IGN, they're like, well, I've been playing the Pokemon series my whole life and I love it. I was like, I already can't trust your review.
Yeah, right.
I can't trust it at all. I was like, give it to somebody that likes Pokemon games but hasn't played one in 5 years, and I'll trust that review.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo has a lot of 10 scores on it. I don't think it should on some of them. But yeah, that one looks good. I'm interested in Jedi Fallen Order that just came out a couple of weeks ago.
That one looks interesting.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the game company that I think it's EA owns the rights to make Star Wars games. And it seems like they haven't known what to do with it, but it seems like they might have actually hit one out of the park on this one.
Yeah.
It looks like it has good story and good gameplay. I've heard that it's got like a mix of Dark Souls gameplay. I don't know if you've ever played that series or not.
I haven't yet, no. I own some of the games, but I haven't gotten to them yet.
Yeah. They have a reputation for being hard. That's not true. They have a reputation for making you have to strategize your way through the levels. If you're not trying to strategize, you're trying to just beat your way through them, that game is going to be hard to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a bow and arrow, the game's the easiest game in the world. Shoot something with an arrow, have it come to you, take them one by one. You walk into a group, you're done for in it. But like the Jedi Fallen Order has that combat system in it. I've heard it's very similar to Dark Souls, which is like, in my opinion, some of the best combat I've played in games.
Nice.
So that one sounds good also. But I can't think of too much. It almost seems, because I'm trying to think about E3 and what was shown in it, and it doesn't seem like anything too amazing was shown this year, which it seems like all the games that are coming out for the next-gen consoles are being made, but we're not allowed to see them yet, because both Sony and Xbox are trying to play things really secret at the moment. They've released a little bit, but almost nothing at all, or even what games are going to come out on them. So it's hard to say what's even going to be coming out soon. We're at a weird time where the consoles are getting, I wouldn't say towards the end of their life, but they're getting towards the beginning of their next generation, which is always when they start to slow down.
Yeah. What about Cyberpunk 2077?
I think that'll be amazing. The people that made the Witcher series, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They know how to make a good game
Absolutely.
too. Largely because, and I don't know if this is true, my brother Drew was telling me that the country literally provides them the budget for their video games because they're so proud of them and what they do. And like they don't care about being stuck to a budget. They will make it as big as they want to, and they'll spend as much money as they want to on making like an excellent piece of art, which is very respectful. Awesome. And that's why I think that they're one of the best game makers out there as well. Someone that cares about the customer that they're trying to sell it to and the art form of video games as well. That's where I come to. I really like developers that care about us and the art that they're showing us. They care about the people they're trying to sell their art to.
For sure. And
I don't know if BioWare cares as much or not, but like you can tell some games like they didn't spend time on them or they tried to rush them out, like Anthem. This is like to charge $60 for that is really sad.
Or Andromeda.
Yeah. You're selling us an incomplete product. And like you have people that spend so much time on it, and to say that one is $60 and another is $60, that Anthem and Witcher 3 were both $60 and released doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Let's see, another one I'm looking forward to. Baldur's Gate 3. Did you ever play?
Oh yeah,
Baldur's
1 and
Gate?
2 are amazing.
Oh yeah, heck yes.
They haven't aged well, unfortunately. Like if you go back to 2 versus 1, do you remember the Onyx Tower in 2?
I don't.
It's like one floor. Do you remember the Onyx Tower in 1? You're climbing that thing forever. It's like they ran out of money at the end of 2. I do love them, and I think 3 will be amazing. Yeah, they're a fun series to play too. I haven't seen too much about Baldur's 3. When does it release?
There's not anything out there other than like the teaser announcement. There's no detail, no information. Let's see what else. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm excited about that one.
Oh yeah, that one's good too. I'm waiting for the review on that one also. Just because that game is from such a different generation and such a console that's so completely different compared to the PS4, the PS1 just... And they didn't know how to build games on it when it first came out, which I believe Final Fantasy VII was one of the early releases on it, and it shows. So I'm hoping that they can transfer some of the love from that game over to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've watched some videos of it, and it looks amazing.
It does look great. Looks great.
Yeah, they've added a lot to it. I think people that are in love with the first one and don't want any changes are going to be mad about it.
Yeah.
But I think the people that respect, like, it's almost like Star Wars, right? They've remade it so many times that the original is not even around anymore. And like, there's some people that will love the original way more than any of these remakes, even though they've been remastered in certain ways. I think that's what's going to happen with this one.
Yeah,
Is I think half, well, maybe not half, but there's going to be people that don't like it and people that absolutely love it.
for sure. Yeah, hope they do a good job with it.
Yeah. The thing that worries me about it, though, is he was working on 2 projects at one time. He was making Kingdom Hearts 3 as well as that one. And I have to say, Kingdom Hearts 3 was kind of a disappointment for me.
Really?
Yes. I don't know. We probably didn't.
I never played any Kingdom Hearts because they've never made it off PlayStation.
Yeah. They're PlayStation exclusives, too?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Maybe 3 made it to Xbox.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, no Kingdom Hearts games have ever officially been released on PC.
Yeah. 3 was a disappointment for a few reasons. So, like, the tradition of Kingdom Hearts is, like, it's a story fleshed out with Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters. They're put together. And in the first Kingdom Hearts, particularly the Final Fantasy VII cast is a major part of the story. And, like, you get to the third one, and there's not a single Final Fantasy character in it.
What?
Weird, right? And you'd think that all the Disney characters would be way more expensive for them to do than their Squaresoft characters.
Because those are their own characters. Yeah.
And they didn't put a single one in. And there was rumor that they would put them in the DLC, but I don't know if that's true or not. I don't even know if the DLC is out for it yet. I started that game, put about 7, 8, 9, 10 hours into it, and I have not picked it up since.
Wow.
I just wanted to sell it back because it was a major disappointment to me.
Jeez.
And the combat in 2 and 1 were pretty decent. They were based on like finger input timings being right. There was a few attacks to choose from. And on this one, it's like it was super simplified. You get a bunch of attacks in, and then all of a sudden you're in a carousel ride, and you're just this thing bouncing on all the enemies. You don't even have to do anything to beat it. People could beat the game in the hardest mode, which has been really difficult in 2 and 1. And they were doing it in 3 like it wasn't even difficult at all because of those little carousel rides. So no, that's why I'm worried about 7, is because 3 was super disappointing, and I'm afraid that him working on 2 projects at one time was going to make one of the pieces of art suffer versus the other one. He was overworked, I know, during both projects.
Yeah.
And I think he rushed Kingdom Hearts 3 to get started on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
I hope so too. I really do. I want that game to be good. I don't trust Squaresoft or Square Enix anymore.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Another game that was just announced this week, Half-Life Alyx. Did you see the trailer for that one?
I did not. Is that like a sequel to Half-Life 2?
It takes place in between Half-Life 1 and 2,
Okay.
and it's 100% VR.
So I've never played Half-Life. Weren't people waiting for a sequel to that for like
Yes,
ever?
absolutely. Half-Life 3. More specifically, they stopped at Half-Life 2 Episode 2. They were going to do 3 episodes to finish off Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2, but they never released the third one. And then beyond that, Half-Life 3 never came out either. And so they're releasing a Half-Life game, and it's been, I think, like 15 years since the last time they released a Half-Life game. Something crazy like that. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like 13 years. And it's not even like a real Half-Life game. It's kind of like a spin-off game, and it's VR only. It looks good, but I don't have VR.
VR's expensive.
It is.
How much is a VR set for PC?
If you want to get one of the cheaper sets, probably $300 to $400.
Yeah, that's
if you
ridiculous.
if you want the best set, it's $1,000. 1,000, Jordan. But if Valve sponsors this podcast and sends me a Valve Index set for free,
We'll give it a test drive.
then yeah, we'll review it. We'll mention it on the podcast.
We'll
Absolutely.
give it a 10 out of 10.
Maybe Gabe Newell is listening.
First sponsor of the show gets a sterling review for whatever they want us to promote.
Yeah, and then there's the sequel to Breath of the Wild that they announced as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm not as excited about
No?
that one. No, I am one of the few people that I thought that Breath of the Wild was a good game, but to say that it was as excellent as everybody said it was, I was just like, did I miss something here? I do have reasoning for that, though. Did you ever play it?
No, I haven't.
So, and I have to be careful what I say about Breath of the Wild in certain circles because people get very angry about my opinion about that game. But if you've ever driven through Montana, that's what it felt like Breath of the Wild was to me. This is just grass as far as the eye could see, and you'll see a mountain here or there. But that I blame that on the Switch because the Switch is not as powerful of a console, so they couldn't do as much with it. But I felt like that Breath of the Wild was like Skyrim done a little bit worse. And like one of my issues with Skyrim, or not Skyrim, Breath of the Wild, when I first started playing it, was the inventory management. Like I was getting so many items, I was having to throw stuff away constantly. I was stopped from playing constantly because my items were so limited at the beginning. I had to throw tons of my weapons away at the beginning. I was annoyed that I had to stop that often. And like whereas you go to Skyrim, it's similar games, although Breath of the Wild was more puzzle oriented, and I would say Skyrim was a little bit more fighting action oriented. But I was more happy with Skyrim's inventory management, where I didn't have to worry about every single item as much. There was a certain weight cap, and it took you a minute to get to it. One of my other issues with Breath of the Wild was the puzzles I felt were too simple. I don't know, how did you feel about them?
I agree with that.
Yeah, there was 120 shrines in it, right? And then there was 4 temples. The temples were done. I was surprised how fast I got through them.
Yeah.
And then the shrines, I only ran into about 3 or 4 that I thought were difficult, and then I only thought they were difficult because I was overthinking them. They were way simpler than what I thought they were. And that was my problem with it. I was like, I don't think anybody, like maybe a 6th grader might have struggled with some of the puzzles or younger. But it was a little too simple.
Which I found interesting because the combat is more difficult than most Zelda games. Like, like you start out in that game, you're going to die a lot, right? Like you run into like that rock monster guy, I forget what he's called. And then like you have 3 hearts, 1 hit, you're down, dead, boom. And you have to break like 5 weapons trying to bring him down. And so I thought that the combat was really hard for my kids, but they were able to do the shrines in most cases, and that's weird to me because if you made the combat challenging to where it's hard for kids to play the game already, then why did you make the puzzles really accessible to them? It seems like a mismatch. Yeah. It seems like they should have upped the difficulty of the puzzles in the game to make them as challenging as the combat is.
I agree. Well, I remember Wind Waker, and I felt like I struggled with the puzzles in Wind Waker a lot more. But I wonder, partially because there's not as many items in the sense of like slingshot and like that grappling claw, the heavy boots, which I think are in it, but like there's not as many of those items, so I feel like they had to go simpler with the puzzles. You had that thing, you had like what, stop time, what were all the powers that it had?
Yeah, you had the stasis, the freeze one, I forgot what it was called, cryosis. And the bombs, and then the magnesis, and that was it.
And they had those 4 things to build puzzles off of, which I think is why they were so simple. I don't think they could have worked with them as much, it seems like. But I could be wrong. But I don't know. I saw, like between Skyrim and it, Skyrim seemed like it did everything better. Skyrim's world was more beautiful to explore. Skyrim's combat was more fun. And not to mention, the biggest thing for me was story in Skyrim was so much better. My problem with Zelda games is it's always Ganondorf. Mm-hmm. We go, it's Ganon. Again, can we just do somebody else? And like you can do story with a character that doesn't talk, because Skyrim does it. Skyrim did it with a character that really doesn't talk. You just have these conversation wheels that you go through. And Link doesn't talk, right? And like the story is just, it's too two-dimensional, which is one of the reasons why I was surprised that game got Game of the Year, and Horizon Zero Dawn, which came out about 4 days before it, did not get Game of the Year. Horizon Zero Dawn is also very similar to Skyrim and Breath of the Wild. And the same thing, Horizon's world was so much more beautifully designed because the console was more powerful. Mm-hmm. Its story was so much more like engaging and like interesting and made you want to get to the end of it. Like there was so much more character development in it, and the combat was more fun. It is like, did Breath of the Wild literally win because of its easy puzzles? Or was it just because Breath of the Wild had a bigger fan base? And I'm wondering about that. Is it bigger fan base or better game that won Game of the Year that year? I was really surprised when Breath of the Wild won it because I thought it was a good game, but I thought it had a lot of weaknesses. Mm. Breath of the Wild got a score 10 on IGN, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn got like a 9.2 or 9.4. And it's just like, what's the difference here? I don't know. I think there is bias always, and there's always opinions when it comes to that because it's going to come down to opinions. And unfortunately, I think that Breath of the Wild had a lot more fan base, which is why it won it, not because it was the better game. Not to say that it's a bad game, because it's not. It's a very good game. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun to play. But
yeah, I really liked it. My kids like it too. I have to kill stuff for them a lot, though.
Yeah. I don't remember the combat being hard. I remember some of the challenges in the shrines being incredibly tough. Because there was some where the enemy could kill you in one hit, right? Mm-hmm. You could go almost anywhere in the world, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah, the main thing that's difficult to fight are the Lionels, the guys that look like centaurs.
Yeah, that's it.
My kids have trouble beating those. So.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even think that the combat was tougher than most Zelda games. It's true. I remember there's one on top of a mountain, a Lionel, right? You have to hit with like thunder arrows or something.
Mhm.
I remember him being particularly tough.
Yeah, because you can encounter him really early in the game. But yeah, my main complaints with that game, I really like the game a lot, but there are some things that I just think were really bad choices, and one is how fast weapons break.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so frustrating. You're carrying like, by the end of the game, you're carrying like 12 to 15 weapons, depending on how many slots you unlocked in. And like even like the really good ones will break after like 12 to 15 hits or something. They just break so fast. And there's no way to repair partially used weapons. Once you get the Master Sword, it runs out of charge eventually, right? And then it'll have to rematerialize. It doesn't partially regenerate. Like if you use half of the energy of the Master Sword, it'll stay at half until you deplete it all the way, and then it'll come all the way back, which is frustrating. The cooldown abilities work the same way, like the shield you get from beating the Gecko, Divine Beast, or like the lightning you get from the Camel. Like you'll get 3 charges of it. If you use one, you'll stay at 2 charges forever. You have to use all the way down to 0, and then wait the 15 minutes for all 3 of them to come back in one go. I think those systems are just poorly designed. Like as soon as you use one charge, that charge should start coming back.
Yeah.
Things like that. Nitpicky maybe, but
I don't know. I don't think so for that one, particularly because inventory management I felt was a problem in that. You're right, your weapons do break fast, and you have to stay on top of keeping them all the time and throwing them away when one's worse.
Yeah.
There was no box to keep them. They just went in the garbage. Like, I don't want it anymore. Throw it on the ground. Leave it there. Move on. You had to do that too often. I felt like anything that stops you from playing the game is a bad thing.
Yeah. Plus, you end up not wanting to use your good weapons either. It's like, this guy, what's the crappiest thing I have, so I can just like kill him with that. I don't like feeling that way. It's
I saved a ton for Calamity Ganon and
Yeah.
ended up not needing one of them.
exactly right. Yeah.
I used the Master Sword the whole time against him. I didn't even need anything else. I went and got like a full inventory of like Royal and Royal Guard weapons, cooked like tons of food, and hoarded all these arrows. And I go in there, I'm like, this guy did not put up much of a fight at all.
He wasn't the coolest Ganon in the world. I think Wind Waker had the coolest Ganondorf for sure. And not a Link to the Past, what was it? The N64 one, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
That had a cool Ganondorf too. Yep. I just wish they'd do something new. That's my main complaint about Nintendo. You buy the next, I don't even know what the next Nintendo generation console is going to be. But I'll bet you it's going to have Mario Kart on it, and Super Smash Brothers on it, and a Mario game on it.
And a Zelda.
And a Zelda.
And a Mario Party.
Yep.
Yeah, they always have to bring out a new game of all their major IP, yeah.
And their prices.
Probably a Donkey Kong.
Yep, a Donkey Kong. And their prices aren't competitive enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Mario game you have, we spent $60 on it. We probably beat it in 10, 15 hours maybe.
That's it? Wow.
The new Luigi's Mansion came out. They're charging $60 for it. The story you can beat in like 20 hours, which is really short. And I really wanted to play it, but when I heard how short the game was, and then I was like, you have competitors in the market that are making games like 50 plus hours.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you guys need to increase your gameplay of what the competition is.
Absolutely. That reminds me of a game that just came out, Outer Worlds. I want to play that one, and it's getting like great reviews. I'm a big fan of the Fallout series, and it seems like it's kind of in a similar vein of like, instead of the nuclear apocalypse, it's more like space western theme. But
it's made by Obsidian, and it looks really good, getting really great reviews, and I found out that you can beat it in 20 hours or less.
Oh,
It's
yeah. That's really short.
Yeah, because all the games that Bethesda made before, like Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, was Obsidian, I guess. And then like Skyrim or Oblivion, Morrowind, like you can play those games for like 300 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And all the reviews I read say if you want to be like completionist, turn over every stone, maybe you can squeeze out 30 to 40 hours. But I'm thinking, when I play a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls game,
I usually get to a point where I'm like, I've seen enough. I've been in enough caves. I've helped enough people in towns. I'm just going to go beat the game. But I decide, I've done enough. But if I wanted to do every single quest and go to every single location, it's probably like 200 more hours out there if I wanted it. And so it's nice to have that much content that I can just play until I feel like my experience has been full, and then I go and beat the game. But for Outer Worlds, if you really have done and looked at and read everything within like 30 hours,
Just wait for it to go down.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, why buy it for 60 if you're only getting 20 to 30 hours out of it? It's disappointing.
The video game market's very weird. There's so much in it. It's hard to even pick what's good and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of games are reviewed, lots of games aren't reviewed, and everyone seems to think their game costs $60 when it comes out because that's what every other game
Yeah.
costs. I wish that they would price games versus like what it cost to make, because I'm sure Outer Worlds was not as expensive to make as Fallout 4 was.
Probably not, or The Witcher 3 or something, So. What are your thoughts, Jordan? What games are you looking forward to?
None of them.
You falling asleep over here while we're talking about video games?
Yes.
Losing interest?
Drawing a picture of a liger.
Yeah.
It's my favorite animal.
How you doing on time? It's 6:20. You have somewhere to be at 7?
Yeah, we better shut her down.
Wrap
Going
it
to a
up.
musical theater.
Like,
2 of my daughters.
Live, huh?
Yeah.
So, nice.
At the high school here in Lehigh, Skyridge.
What is it? What show?
Pippin.
Pippin? Never heard of it.
Pippin. I hadn't either till it showed up on the signboard.
Are we talking about Peregrine Took here or no?
No, I don't think it's going to be a musical about the Shire. That
No,
would be amazing if it were.
it would be. What is it about then?
I
Oh, you
wouldn't
don't know?
I'm
Okay.
surprised.
Nice. All right. Well, we've done an hour and a half, so yeah, we can call it good here.
Good show, everyone.
Yeah,
No one died a grisly death during the cursed episode.
it's true. Not yet, anyway. Still have to drive home. Don't jinx it.
Hopefully some of your followers are interested in video games.
Most of them are.
They are.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not good enough to be our followers,
We
Jordan. How
serve
about
the
that?
neckbeard community.
Yeah. They might be angry at some of the information. Sorry, Xbox users, we kind of left you guys alone.
It's okay. Controversy breeds interest, I think.
Yeah, it does.
So
They can come on in the future to tell us how PlayStation sucks and Xbox.
that's right. So we like to hear the strong opinions here. We're not afraid of
Trying to
them.
be fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of them bought Google Stadia.
Hopefully not.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again to Wyatt for being here, and we'll catch you next time.